Welcome back to the Big Show. We start by looking back at Rutgers' Saturday spring game, where the Scarlet edged out the White 30-24. Gavin Wimsatt and Minnesota transfer Ethan Kaliak-Manis dueled at quarterback for each team. Wimsatt went 8 out of 16, 76 yards and a touchdown. Kaliak-Manis went 10 out of 17 in the game, 147 yards, 2 tutties for him in that QB battle taking place in Piscataway. Our big stat today takes us to Piscataway, where Rutgers is coming off its first winning season since 2014. It's the 9th time in the last 20 years that the Scarlet Knights have finished with a winning season. Coach Schiano, the winningest coach in program history, was at the helm for 7 of those 9 seasons. And that does bring us also to the NFL draft, where Max Melton was sensational for Rutgers this past season. That success led Melton to be a second-round pick. It came off the board and went to the Arizona Cardinals, 5th highest Rutgers player selected in the common era of the NFL draft. There's a lot that we're looking forward to getting into in today's big interview, and we have the aforementioned Coach Schiano joining us now. And Coach, with the direction that things are going with your program, there's understandably a lot of excitement for what this next season will bring. But the NFL draft just happened. Max Melton, as I've referenced, came off the board in the 2nd round. So as we look back at that accomplishment for him and for your program, what did that mean to you?
Well, I was really happy for Max. He worked so hard to achieve that. He's really a talented guy, but one that maybe flew under the radar a little bit coming out of high school. And that goes to show you with all the rankings and all those things. Max was the 43rd best player in the country, according to the NFL draft. So very, very exciting. He'll do a great job. He'll play in that league a long time.
Yeah, could not agree more. The mentality that you tend to infuse into your team, I think that is a big part of the reason why. And the spring game itself, a lot of your players wanting to show some of that mentality in front of the fans for the first time there. And I was struck because I had an opportunity last season to see the boardwalk outside the stadium, one of the most unique pregame atmospheres that I see anywhere. They actually brought the boardwalk inside the stadium somehow. What went into that?
Well, I'll tell you, we have some people here that are really creative, led by PJ. He's special, and he caught me in a moment of weakness. He said, "What do you think, Coach? We bring it in the stadium?" And I agreed. But it was awesome. Our fans loved it. They were down on the field. They were watching the game. They were on the Ferris wheel and playing the games. And again, that's what I want. I want our program to be a program that the entire family can come be a part of. And we work hard to do that in an environment where we have pro football teams all around us, pro basketball, pro baseball. So this needs to be something different, and I think our people do a great job of putting together that boardwalk during the season, and then to bring it onto the field was really cool.
It is fantastic. I have ridden the Ferris wheel. I have had the food. It is like no other when it comes to pregame festivities. I cannot wait to get an opportunity to do it again. And I mean, you got a little bit of free time coming up here. I mean, if it's not the boardwalk, are you a big roller coaster guy? I mean, we maybe going to see you at some theme parks coming up here?
Yeah, when my kids were younger, I used to do the theme park, but I'll take it a little slower than that. Maybe hit the beach for a little bit.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. Go down to the shore. I'm sure you'll be able to relax down there just a little bit. You mentioned after the spring game earlier in the week here, just that you were pleased your team was able to make it through the spring game with no real health consequences. And it seems like, as we watch a lot of things around college football evolve, the concern for health is always there, but the way it's prioritized just to get through without significant injuries and the way you handle spring, has that evolved over time from your perspective?
I think it has. I think we've become smarter with sports science, and we can rely on different things. But at the end of the day, it's a fine line because it's a tough game played by tough people, and you need to go do things to become tough. You need to hit each other. You need to practice. So we really try to walk that fine line, and we got to practice 15, and a lot of our starters were if they were injured, they weren't going to be long-term injuries, and we made a conscious decision that it was going to be a bunch of the young guys getting a chance to show what they do, and I thought it was a great opportunity. And the thing that pleased me most is it looked like a football game, even though 20 or 25 guys didn't take part in it. So it's a positive that we're building depth, that things are going in the right direction, and like I say to the players all the time, it's stepping stones, right? So now we went from spring, that gives us a chance to have a good summer. If we can have a good summer, it'll give us a chance to have a good training camp. And then a good training camp, that'll give us a chance to have a great season. And what has to happen is it's one step at a time.
One of the aspects that'll be new once we get to this next college football season will be the helmet communication between players and the play callers. And we've seen that in the NFL with the green dot guys on each side of the ball for a long time. You've been in a position where you've been able to manage that at the NFL level. Now it's coming to college football, and you've tested it out a bit this spring. Is there anything about that that'll function a bit differently because it's college football versus when professional athletes getting the opportunity to do it?
I think as long as you practice with it, I think you'll be fine. You're right. We have experience with it. Several guys on our staff, including myself. So it's one of those things that really the two big changes, the helmet communication and the tablets. I think the tablets are even a bigger change because we have video on these tablets. In the NFL, it's still shots. Well, now there's video. So how you figure it all out, how you're going to use it, how you're going to have workflow. Those are things that coaches will spend a lot of time on, have spent time on, and will spend a lot of time on leading up to training camp and getting ready for the season. So technology is certainly making a big push in 2024.
And who's going to sponsor it and make money off of it with the big logo on the other side of the tablet? There's going to be all kinds of stuff that get involved in that too.
Always is.
Yes, no doubt. I'm looking forward to getting involved in the conversation about your quarterback position, as most Rutgers fans are. You ended up adding Ethan Caliac-Manis to your program, really talented player who had, of course, been with the Gophers prior to now. As he went into the transfer portal, what made Ethan Caliac-Manis the type of player that you didn't want to pass on the opportunity to get him in?
Well, I think it starts with Coach Schiano. Coach Schiano recruited him and worked with him at Minnesota. So we knew exactly what Ethan is and what he was going to be able to do. His brother Dino came with him, which he had a good spring as well. So I'm excited. I think our quarterback room is as strong as it's ever been in all my years as the head coach here at Rutgers. And I know that it's a very fluid thing when you talk about college personnel, right? Because there is a transfer portal, there is NIL, there's all those things that make it that way. So what you do is you literally take it day by day. You have a plan, but you got to be ready to adjust. And I feel really good about Ethan. I feel good about Gavin. And I feel good about our other two quarterbacks as well. They're doing a good job. So we have some depth at the position, but you don't know how long that lasts all the time.
I was fortunate to call the game where Gavin Wimsatt made his debut. He got the one snap for you a few seasons. That felt like just moments after he reclassified from high school, joined your program, got that one snap against Illinois. Frankly, Coach, you didn't put him in a very easy position on a 4th down where he completes a 13-yarder, and that was how he sort of burst onto the scene for Rutgers fans. In the years since then, where he's been sort of, helming the quarterback position for you, how have you seen Gavin Wimsatt begin to mature and evolve into the guy he is today?
Well, he's made great strides. Certainly that was a heck of a play, right? You're not kidding. It wasn't an easy stage to walk onto. I was really, really proud of him. But he's grown his understanding of the game. He's grown in his ability to use his mobility to his advantage. I think Coach Schiano has done some good things that have allowed him to do that. So he's been a weapon both with his legs and his arm. But most importantly, the growth he's made as a quarterback is what excites me the most.
Rutgers fans very excited about that. You mentioned the depth that you have at that position. We do know your backfield, while it's deep, has a star, the leading returning rusher in the Big Ten, led the conference last season, and Kyle Monangai decided to come back for yet another season in Piscataway. Were you pleasantly surprised by it? What were those conversations like before Monangai made his announcement?
Well, they were real. I mean, we went right through it and hashed it out. And, certainly he didn't have a wrong decision. He just needed to make what was the most right decision for him. And I think he did that. I think he's got a great year looking him in the face right now. We got to get him to training camp and get him going. And I think, again, the depth with Sam Brown and some others behind Kyle, it'll give him a chance not to have to carry the ball, 25, 30 times a game. And certainly over time, that extends his longevity during the season.
Are there any particular aspects of Kyle's game that either you or perhaps even himself want to make sure he'll focus on enhancing as he heads towards the fall?
Well, I got to tell you, I thought he was a pretty complete running back last fall, because he had worked up to that. It wasn't like he just burst on the scene. He was improving constantly since he enrolled. Now I think it's more about, perfecting the understanding of every play, perfecting, he does a lot of things that helps our quarterbacks get it right. He's a very intelligent player. He'll make corrections on the protections. He'll do it all. He is a very, very bright guy. So, yeah, it's more about, making small incremental growth in every area of his game, which will add up again to an even more productive back, which, he's quite productive in 23, and we look forward to him being even more productive in 24.
I love defensively how you roll so many bodies through in a given game. You keep guys fresh, you keep guys playing with energy. Now you're going through a spring where you have so much experience that'll return for this fall. How do you go about when a bunch of guys know the system, they know they've had success in it, how do you keep them engaged and continuing to find ways to improve?
Well, I thought we played well at times last year. I also thought there were times where we let down. And, our front seven really is a strength of ours, but at times our D-line didn't perform to their capabilities last year. So I really went into this spring, we really have made a conscious effort to improve at all the little things. And I think that we've done that. And I think we have to continue that this summer and into training camp because we have some guys that I think are elite players that we need to make sure they play that way in the clutch. And we will. And I think we're backed up by a secondary that has experience, guys that understand what we're doing. And again, being those small incremental improvements that allow you to kind of have an effect as a group, that's going to be the key.
Now, you told me multiple times last fall, Coach, that you felt like you were maybe one more cycle away from having the level of competitive depth in your roster where you felt like you're ready to compete at the highest of levels here. So you're through the spring. How are you feeling about the depth of your roster right now?
I feel good. Yeah, I think if we started today, we'd have a good 10-man rotation on the defensive front, which is what you really aim for. I think at linebacker we have depth. Really good depth at linebacker. So, we have two seniors, guys that are going to be NFL players in Mo Toure. Mo has had a great spring. And then Tyreen Powell, who's recovering from injury, he had a tremendous year last year. So those two guys are backed up by really some good young linebackers, Moses Walker, DJ DeBomi. I think you saw in the game, in the bowl game, some young guys making plays. So I'm really excited about our development at that position. And again, we just have to keep making that incremental improvement. We call it chopping, but just keep hitting the spot over and over again, and good things will happen.
Well, we certainly do anticipate that. There's no doubt about it, Coach. Appreciate you taking the time today. And whether it's at the beach or on a roller coaster or whatever, enjoy a little bit of free time when you can.
All right, I appreciate that. You do the same.
That is Coach Schiano from Rutgers. Now we transition to one of the most electrifying players in the Big Ten Conference. AJ Henning will be with me in studio. Going to do my best to corral one of the quickest cats